evening all. So here we go. This is an interesting concept I wish to share with you all. Basically, this is right, bear with me, this is going to take a bit of explaining. What we're doing is playing a map, and this is proper full squad play. Now, just a very quick observation on squad play first. You should always try and play in a full squad because you do get a skill boost, skill point boost for that. So, you know, instead of 50 points, you get 60 points and so on. So, also you get things like the orbital strikes and all that good stuff as well. So, I think if you can, you know, just even if it's just in local, asking if people want to team up, just try and get into a squad, join a squad. Don't just join a game blindly, because generally I find that you just join whatever and you don't necessarily get skill points. Now, to do this, also you need to all be in the same area, so you're all kind of working together and blah blah blah, you know, you're getting all that kind of, you know, team squad play as they call it. So this is really just a video of that. Now, this is interesting. We actually decided to try something slightly different here. Now, this wasn't an emergent strategy. It was actually because we were getting owned. So we decided, actually, instead of capturing the points, what we would do is we would actually force our opponents to come at us. So we actually were saying, come at us, bro, because we wanted to test a theory that's based upon, we know we can't win the MCC takedown battle, but we wanted to see how easily we could take down their clone reserves, and this was kind of part of a plan to just harvest kills. So we're going to do a few underhand tactics that I think some of you will probably flame us for. So, for example, we're going to spawn camp. We're going to also sit back and invite them to attack us. So, you know, there's a really nice, interesting change of play here, because usually you just run around like a loony and you just try and capture the points and then you kill who's ever in your way and all that, and that's fine. But to be honest, you know, you need to switch things up a bit. And again, I know I keep saying it, but you should always look at everything you do in life, in gaming, and if everything is, you know, this is how I do it. Is there a better way? Is there another way? And I think this was one of those things, because if, for example, you have a particularly good couple of squads who are very good at harvesting kills and killing people when together and reviving and all that good stuff, then what you actually have is you have the ability to basically farm your opponents. I know it sounds horrible, but you actually could, and this is what we were doing. We were basically just almost inviting them forward. So we know the CIU is on the other side of this piece. We didn't naturally run forward and capture it. Obviously somebody else did, so that kind of screwed that plan. But that was pretty much how we played this map. And as you can see, it's working quite well. Okay, we're not particularly holding capture points too long, but what we were generally doing was just capturing one or two and then forcing the enemy to just run towards it. Now, this is based on the observation that, for example, they have now captured A, soon to be B, and then D. We capture C, and then we sit at C and wait for them to come at us, bro. And that's really all we were doing, and it was just amazingly powerful. And we actually ended up getting huge amounts of kills. It was actually pretty good fun as well, because it felt like we were doing a bit of defense, a bit of base defense or something. And it was just unbelievably effective, and even if they called in tanks and stuff like that, it was still good, because we were basically baiting them into coming forward. Anyway, so that's the tactic. I'm sure a lot of you veterans do this and you're sitting back saying, what a noob, but that's fine. You know, it's all part of the discovery process, and I think this was, for us, an absolute blast. And to the point where, you know, it didn't really matter if we won or lost. It was really a case of, you know, how much fun can we have? How can we mess with people? You know, what everybody just kind of plays this game with a built behavior of running after wherever the next point is, and that if they see something, they'll hack it. If they see a command point locally, they'll run towards it. And also, what's very interesting that they do, and something to bear in mind for your own purposes, is if you, for example, we have C captured, they have their CIU over there, they will always spawn at that CIU. So we decided then to capture C and then use the CIU, leave it under their control, and then kill them as they spawned in. I know it sucks, don't get me wrong. We weren't, you know, I don't like it when it happens to me, but this was an experiment. We were really just seeing what the possible thing was here. So you can see they've obviously captured C again, and they're capturing A. So really it now became a point to, right, which part of the map can we capture and then force them to run towards. So, you know, we're I guess we're I like to say we're farming them, but it sounds a bit wrong, but you see what I mean. And the tactic was effectively quite powerful because, as you can see, we're already 27 clones ahead, and you know, we were doing quite well. And I think this was really kind of, you know, the plan. We had a good group of people on our side, but we also had people that really didn't quite get the tactic. So they would run and capture the CIU when they could see us all stood round it, for example. So kind of sucked, but you know, what can you do? And I think really this is part of the learning process, as I guess you can say, and it's all just then figuring out how the game works. I think ambush is, you can't really do this in ambush obviously, but I just think this is the strength to me of Skirmish. I think this is why I love Skirmish so much, because it's not just about battering your opponent to the ground and then saying, ha, I beat you, noob. It's actually about outthinking them, and I think with this one we particularly did. So they were pretty much sat back thinking they'd won this, because obviously look at the MCC shield levels and so on, and all of a sudden they actually stopped. Basically, you know, they didn't come forward, they didn't basically try as hard as they did, but they kept spawning in the same areas, so basically we could just start to really harvest them. A few good players on their team. This dude here with the shotgun is pretty pro. He's a particularly good shotgunner. As you can see, he can kill me. But it was always, you know, it was always interesting to kind of, you know, just see how people are thinking, then, you know, try and manipulate that in some way or another, and it certainly did work. And you know, I know this tactic's not new, but it certainly worked, and I think it was a particularly good one. In terms of squad play, I think there's a really nice... this game rewards you for squad play, and again, as others do, but this one rewards you in that you all play a lot better, you have more fun, and it becomes a bit of a challenge. So, you know, the fits that you then fit are then more aligned to the squad, not the individual, because... For example, you know, if you have two people with medipens, or I keep calling them medipens, with the health packs, then you know you're able to recover your squad generally. Law of averages says you will if two die, and then you have the ability to also have heavy weapons, repair. You know, even when it comes to ammo forges, things like that as well. And then also have one person, or at least one person with a spawn pad, because as you can see, what we're doing is I'm a logistics dude, so I have spawn pads, I have remote detonators, and I have ammo. I have the medical pen in this case. And what I was able to do was to keep the team kind of going. Now, others had ammo forges, I had the spawn pads, so we could quickly get back into the same place. And to be honest, it just became a rush. You can see there, 4 of us just ran over the hill and rushed, you know, this base, and it just was amazingly powerful. And it doesn't matter how good you are as an individual. If a squad of 4 rush you, you're not going to survive that unless you're literally tanked and crazy and, you know, a Twitcher gamer, as I'd call it. And I think really this is the beauty of the game, because it does really kind of you know, give you that sense of accomplishment as well with this kind of play. Now also we've got different weapons, so I think 2 of us have got assault rifles, 1 of us got a laser, and I think the 3rd guy, I think he had a I'm not sure what he had actually. I think he had maybe even a shotgun from time to time, and again, it just created a really good mixture, so we could always then change our fits. Now again, it's probably something I'll do. I saw a comment on one of my videos a moment ago, which was around, you know, fittings and how can you get the most out of your fittings now. So I'll do a video on that, because one of the things I think is absolutely key is, like, this dude here is called in a heavy, so he can take on numerous people at the spawn, and that's particularly brilliant. So you always need to try and just fit for your circumstances, because that then gives you the ability to, you know, to move and adapt with it. So as you can see, we're losing the MCC battle, but with 33 to 71 clones, we're winning the clone battle by quite a bit. Now, you remember I said about the CIU tactic? We are now doing it. We are now sat around the CIU and camping them. Now, because we've hacked C, they are all going to spawn at that CRU. So basically, we've basically, you know, pulled a bit of hijinks on them, and we're kind of forcing them to spawn at that CRU. So the guys are basically all stood there camping it, and we're just basically harvesting the kills as they spawn in. Now, again, this is a bit of a dodgy tactic. Nobody likes spawn camping, but to be honest, until they do something about it, this is going to be a thing. People will continue to do this, and I don't really know what to say about that. I think it's just a very difficult thing to kind of judge and justify, but we were just seeing what the limits of the game were, so don't flame us too much. But yeah, you can see I remote detted C, but I forgot to reset them, so they've actually just taken C, which kind of sucks. But The tactic worked. You know, a lot of them were spawning in here, and we were basically just drilling them as they came in. The whole squad is there. We've got a heavy, we've got a laser, we've got 2 ARs, and it's really working well. As you can see, we were just, you know, as soon as they spawn in, they're pretty much going down. You know, and I think it's a valid tactic, particularly because, again, you know, this was no longer about winning the MCC battle. This was about depleting their clones, and I don't think a lot of people actually try to do that. I think a lot of people will take the base, then they'll sit back. They actually won't then continue the fight, and that's perfectly fine. I know that's part of the game, but I would stress it's actually a very valid tactic, particularly when you have a group of players like we're fighting here, where they, you know, they just generally would spawn in blind and try and fight, and, you know, all credits to them because they were a real blast to fight against. And to be honest, this is I think the fun part of the game, is that, you know, the fight is brought to you and you basically then can, you know, push them back. So we've done the same with A. Although we have the CRU, we're actually just basically looking to goad them into coming from B now. So actually what we're doing is we're setting up A to be a little bit of a base, and then we can start to push on B, because again, this map is one of those maps where you can predict where most people are going to come from, because of the nature of the spawn. So unless you've got C and D just taken, the majority of them will spawn at B, and they'll actually head this way towards A. So again, it's just taking the game a little bit step further and just thinking about maybe the behaviours of what people are going to do. So, you know, I was sat there really annoying my squad mates, saying, right, they're going to come from B, they're going to come from B. So we could then move and set up some defences. So you see there we just dropped an orbital as well. That's Josh just firing an orbital. Pretty funny. And it just gives us time to then move towards B. So we actually use the orbital not just as a thing to harvest kills, but as a way to kind of clear the way. So, and look at the clones, they've got 5 left, and it's pretty close. I think we're confident we could have won this. But the MCC hasn't got much left, so this is an interesting one. So 4, I think, no 5, sorry. So as they spawn, he'll take another clone. 4, it's getting tense. 3, and then 2, and then this dude becomes the last one. And naturally, we get him. And then there we go. So we're down to 0 clones. So the next kill wins. Plenty of time left on the MCC. And then for some reason the game freezes like crazy, but eventually it figures it out and we win. So there we go. Interesting tactic. I hope you agree. Real blast to do it as well. I think you know, don't always try and, I think, stick to the standard tactics here of capture and win, because you do have the ability just to literally knock the opponent out with their clones. And I think this was a particularly good demonstration of that. Hope you enjoyed that. See you.